Hello students, welcome back to our read aloud of The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane, Chapter 23. Before we read the chapter, just a couple of vocabulary words to talk about. The first is modest. When someone is modest, it means that they are humble. They can be a little bit shy and kind of like more simple things. They're definitely not a show-off. So a show-off would be the antonym for modest, the opposite. And humble would be a synonym, a word that means the same or similar. And then the last vocabulary word to talk about is mend. When you mend something, this is a verb, it's an action that means to repair or fix something. A really common idiom is to mend a broken heart, which doesn't mean literally that someone goes into your body and stitches up your heart. It means that you get over something that has hurt you, okay, that you come to accept something that has hurt you. So to mend something means to fix it. All right, let's continue on with our chapter reading. Chapter 23. Exceedingly well made, said the man who was running a warm cloth over Edward's face. A work of art, I would say. A surpassingly, unbelievably dirty work of art. But art nonetheless. And dirt can be dealt with, just as your broken head has been dealt with. Edward looked into the eyes of the man. Ah, there you are, the man said. I can see that you are listening now. Your head was broken. I fixed it. I brought you back from the world of the dead. My heart, Edward thought. My heart is broken. So this is different from where we left Edward, right? Edward and Bryce had gone into a diner to eat some food, but then they couldn't pay. And the owner, Neil, was really upset that they couldn't pay. And he took Edward and he smashed him against the counter. And then in the last chapter, in chapter 22, we saw Edward with all of the people who had loved him and all of the people he had loved. And he actually grew wings to fly up to be with Sarah Ruth in the stars. And I said at the time, it seems like maybe that was kind of a dream. And now here is Edward with a strange man who says, your head was broken and I fixed it. I brought you back from the world of the dead. So I'm thinking that all of chapter 3 was like Edward's dreams while this man was fixing him. And we don't know exactly what happened to Edward in between. Somehow he's ended up with this man. I wonder if we're going to find out how. Let's read on and see. No need to thank me, the man said. It's my job, quite literally. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Lucius Clark, doll mender. Your head, may I tell you, will it upset you? Well, I always say the truth must be met head on, no pun intended. Your head, young sir, was in 21 pieces. 21 pieces? Edward repeated mindlessly. Lucius Clark nodded. 21, he said. All modesty aside, I must admit that a lesser doll mender without my skills, might not have been able to rescue you. But let's not speak of what might have been. Let us speak instead of what is. You are whole. You have been pulled back from the brink of oblivion by your humble servant, Lucius Clark. And here Lucius Clark put his hand on his chest and bowed deeply over Edward. This was quite a speech to wake up to, and Edward lay on his back trying to absorb it. He was on a wooden table. He was in a room with sunshine pouring in from high windows. His head, apparently, had been in 21 pieces, and now he was put back together into one. He was not wearing a red suit. In fact, he had no clothes on at all. He was naked again, and he did not have wings. And then he remembered. Bryce, the diner, Neil swinging him through the air. Bryce. You are wondering, perhaps, about your young friend, said Lucius. the one with the continually running nose. Yes, he brought you here weeping, begging for my assistance. Put him together, he said. Put him back together. I told him, I said, young sir, I'm a businessman. I can put your rabbit back together again for a price. The question is, can you pay this price? He could not. Of course he could not. He said that he could not. I told him then that he had two options, only two. The first option being that he seek assistance elsewhere. Option 2 was that I would fix you to the very best of my considerable abilities, and then you would become mine. His no longer, but mine. Here Lucius fell silent. He nodded, agreeing with himself. Two options only, he said. And your friend chose option 2. He gave you up so that you could be healed. Extraordinary, really. Bryce, thought Edward. Lucius Clark clapped his hands together. But no worries, my friend, no worries. I fully intend to keep my end of the bargain. I will restore you to what I perceive to be your former glory. You shall have rabbit fur ears and a rabbit fur tail. Your whiskers will be repaired and replaced, your eyes repainted to a bright and stunning blue. You will be clothed in the finest of suits. And then some day I will reap the return on my investment in you. All in good time, all in good time. In the doll business, we have a saying, there is real time and there is doll time. You, my fine friend, have entered doll time. Wow. So this gentleman is saying that he's going to fix Edward back to how he was before, with his rabbit fur, with his whisker, with those blue, stunning blue eyes. And Bryce gave him to this man in return for fixing him, because Bryce couldn't pay him to fix him. So Lucius said, well, if you can't pay me to fix him, then after I'm done fixing him, he becomes mine. And then someday, this man seems to be saying he's going to sell Edward for money. So that's why he's fixing him, so that he can sell him to someone else. Sounds like Edward's going to meet maybe one more person, at least, right, on his journey. We'll see what happens next.